Welcome dear friends to the last part of unit 4 communication. Mostly we are giving some questions, explanations etc. which will be very helpful to crack NET. So for that reason I am just giving. I hope already I have given two, but I will paste everything, link everything and then give you as the marathon class. So kindly be tuned in to my class. Kindly be tuned in to my class. This is the third part I am just preparing, and I put them together. Part 1, part 2, part 3. I try my best to put them together, otherwise I will give them separately, and kindly go through that. Communication aspect we are just talking about is yeah. Effective communication. We are just talking about effective communication. Yeah. Effective communication needs a supportive social environment. That's very important. I mean, the community should be helpful to us to communicate so freely. Communication friendly environment is a space that encourages, promotes good communication. This approach focuses on the role of the environment in supporting speaking and listening skills, emotional being, well-being, physical development and general engagement. So, communication friendly environment is a space that encourages and promotes good communication. This helps in supporting speaking and listening skills, emotional well-being, physical development and general engagement, involvement. A major barrier in the transmission of cognitive data in the process of communication is an individual's coding ability. Very important one, coding ability. What does this mean? See, the sender sends a message, the listener or the receiver should be able to take it correctly. So that is called a coding ability. The process of encoding converts information from a source into symbols for communication through letter, through telephone. There are symbols. The message is to be sent by the sender with proper coding in order to be received correctly by the listener. You know, the listener, the status of the listener one must know. If he is an illiterate person, how will you send the message? Through pictures, through gestures, all these things. If he is an educated person, you will send email or you will send the text, or email, whatever it may be. So that way you have to reach at the listener. That's very important. That's called, so coding ability should be there. The process of encoding converts information from a source into symbols for communication. The message is to be sent by the sender with proper coding in order to be received correctly by the listener. When communicated, institutionalized stereotypes become convictions. A very important one, net question. See, what do you mean by institutionalized stereotypes? Again and again, when you say certain things about a particular race, a particular caste, a particular religion, that becomes, sort of truth. People begin to believe it as a truth. So that is called institutionalized stereotypes. So people become convictions when communicated. Institutionalized stereotypes again and again that is said, and that becomes conviction. An example of conviction is someone completely believing they are right about something. It may not be true, as in the case of prejudice against a particular race or caste, as I already explained to you. Now, in mass communication, selective perception is dependent on the receiver's receptivity, because the receiver, what type of person he is and how far he can understand language, all these things matters, receptivity. So in mass communication, selective perception is dependent on the receiver's receptivity. Selective perception is simply highlighting the fact that any perception is formed through a subjective and selective process influenced by our experience, beliefs, environment, etc. It's a subjective and selective process. Selective perception is that one. So in mass communication, selective perception is dependent on the receiver's receptivity. Photoblading means what is that? Cropping, no? Photo cropping. Cropping is the removal of unwanted outer areas from a photographic or illustrated image. That has been asked in 2011. So photocropping means what? It is a removal of unwanted outer areas from a photographic or illustrated image. While designing communication strategy, feed-forward studies are conducted by communicator himself. Feed-forward, how the message is forwarded to. That is, that strategy is studied by the communicator himself. How he is going to put across his message to other persons. Feed-forward is solution-oriented, providing clear indications on how to solve a problem without offering positive or negative criticism. So feed-forward is future-oriented, avoiding comments as past behaviors or results that cannot be changed. So it's a future-oriented, how he is going to put the message, even though there are criticism or even though there are certain errors, whatever it may be, certain things cannot be changed even, but still the feed-forward is solution-oriented, how the communicator can do something about sending the message correctly to the audience. So while designing a communication strategy, feed-forward studies are conducted by communicator himself. In which language the newspapers have highest circulation? That is in Hindi, of course, because Hindi belt is a bigger size in India, so quite natural. Hindi, newspapers in Hindi have the highest circulation. Communication with oneself is known as, we have already seen that, again and again we have seen, but again and again it has been asked also. In many exams they have asked this. That is intrapersonal communication. Communication with oneself is known as intrapersonal communication. The term SITE stands for Satellite Instructional Television Experiment. This is general knowledge only. We have to understand what is it, the abbreviations and all. This comes in Unit 8 also. ICT, Information Communication Technology. Here also it can come, sometimes it will be overlapping. It is also part of communication, that way. The term SITE stands for Satellite Instructional Television Experiment. That is the idea here. Then, video conferencing can be classified as one of the following types of communication. That is audio-visual two-way communication. Video conferencing can be classified as one of the following types of communication. Audio-visual two-way. M.Sc National University of Journalism and Communication is located at Pobal. Okay, yes, National University of Journalism, right, and company is located at Pobal. All India Radio for Broadcasting was named in the year 1936. The term TAVP, I think again it is repeated, I think, anyhow. The term TAVP stands for what? That is Directorate of Advertising and Visual Publicity. Directorate of Advertising and Visual Publicity. 2012 it has been asked. The term TRB is associated with TV shows stands for what? This we already done it. Again it has come. Television rating points. Television rating point, that is TRB with regard to TV. The English word communication is derived from the words communis and communicare. Two words. Okay, communis means that is common. The message is common. That is communis. Communis and communicare. There are two words here. English word communication is derived from these two words. Next one. Conversing with the spirits and ancestors is termed as transpersonal communication because no human being is involved. Transpersons means spirits, ancestors. Nowhere they are human. Only it is a fit of imagination, some people call it, or even those who are religious, will see certain truth in the spirits, ancestors, spirits of ancestors, etc. That is called a transpersonal, beyond personal. Transpersonal means what? Beyond personal communication, beyond the person, above the person. That is a transpersonal communication. So conversing with the spirits and ancestors is termed as transpersonal communication. Yeah. Next one. The largest circulated daily newspaper among the following is the Times of India. Once again, it has to be verified also because 2012, when it was prepared, at that time it was Times of India. but whether it has surpassed by other newspapers, we have to see. I think use the internet to see, for this question. Which is the largest circulated daily newspaper among the following? The Times of India, I have given it, 2012. Classroom communication of a teacher rests on the principle of edutainment. That's called edutainment, right? Classroom communication of a teacher rests on the principle of edutainment, because education is given. So it is infotainment means giving information. Entertainment means giving, something for happiness, leisurely task. Power equation, all these things are there, but classroom communication of a teacher rests on the principle of edutainment. The pioneer of the silent feature film in India was Dada Sahib Phalke, very important one. I mean, anything they will be asking, cinema, newspapers, or awardees, players, sports person, all these things can be asked. So, Dada Sahib Phalke, the pioneer of the silent feature film in India. Next one, Bengal Gazette, the first newspaper in India, was started in 1780 by James Augustus Hickey. James Augustus Hickey. Bengal Gazette, the first newspaper in India, was started in 1780 by James Augustus Hickey. See how they are asking, in 2030. So we need some general knowledge with regard to each topic. Whatever comes across, we must be able to read and then get it in our memory. Next one, press censorship in India was imposed during the tenure of the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, during the emergency period perhaps. So 2013 they asked this. The press censorship in India was imposed during the tenure of the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Now communication via new media such as computers, teleshopping, internet and mobile telephony is termed as what? Interactive communication, because you are able to interact with other persons, all this stuff, computers, teleshopping, internet, mobile telephony, because we are, alone we are not going to speak. We are going to speak with others. So that way it becomes interactive communication. Now, DAS is important when a teacher communicates with his student. That is empathy. There are so many things there. Sympathy, that's also a positive thing. But more than sympathy, empathy. Sympathy means just feeling sorry for someone's sorry plight, or feeling one with another person, just in our feeling level. But empathy means you are able to understand other people's feelings as we are having ourselves, as we are having them ourselves. So that way, I mean, unkannil neer vadidal, enkannil udaram kuttathu. That's the point, empathy. So what is important when a teacher communicates with a student? That is empathy. So empathy is the ability to understand other people's feelings as if we were having them ourselves. Sympathy refers to the ability to take part in someone else's feelings. I mean, we are able to feel like another person, but we don't do anything. Mostly by feeling sorrowful about their misfortune. ஏதோ நடந்து போச்சுங்க பரவாயில்ல அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அப்படியே போயிடுறது. Empathy means something more than that. Apathy means a lack of interest. It's a negative term. Lack of interest, lack of enthusiasm. Antipathy means is a deep-seated feeling of aversion, hatred. பகைமை, கொடூர பகைமை. So that's called antipathy. Antipathy is a deep-seated feeling of aversion or hatred. Media is known as fourth estate, the modern expression of the separation of powers in the executive, legislative and judicial branches became known as the three estates. What are they? Executive, legislative, judicial. Judicial branches have become three estates. So later it was added, that is a fourth estate, that's called press, in general media. Later to be followed by a fourth estate in the form of the media. Newspapers or whatever it may be, journals, newspapers, magazines, in general media, even technology, fourth estate. The mode of communication that involves a single source transmitting information to a large number of receivers simultaneously at the same time. I am speaking now, you are listening, for an example. You are just, I am giving a live program, you are seeing that. Then, What involves a single source transmit information. Okay, very sorry. The question is to a large number of receivers simultaneously. That is mass communication. Through the mic, in a big rally, the leader speaks and then thousands of people are listening to him. That way, mass communication. So, question we have to understand. So, the mode of communication that involves a single source transmitting information. A great leader speaks, single source of transmitting information to a large number of receivers, lakhs of party workers, like that. That is understood. Mass communication. Then in the classroom, the teacher sends the message either as words or images. In the classroom, the teacher sends the message either as words or images. The students are really decoders. You say encoding, the teacher does. Who will get the message? The students. So the students are really decoders. They understand in their own way what the teacher says through his message. The students understand in their own way. So it's called a decoding. Decoders means receivers only. So a smart classroom is a teaching space which has some 4 options they are given, where they are asking select the correct one from the codes given below. So which is the right one we have to see. A smart classroom is a teaching space which has a smart portion with a touch panel control system. Is it true? Or PC laptop connection with the and DVD VCR player. Is it correct? Or document camera and specialized software. Is it true? We need a smart classroom. It's a teaching space. How? Or projector and screen. Which is the right one? Yes, classroom is a teaching space. We are talking about the facility. What facilities are available? That is a PC laptop connection and DVD VCR player. And fourthly, that is projector and screen. That is the teaching space in the smart classroom. We have to understand the question correctly. So that way, B is the correct one. We need PC laptop connection, DVD VCR player or projector and screen. A smart classroom should need all these. A smart classroom should have all these facilities. It's not smart portion or a document camera, or that's all accessory, added adds on. We call it adds on in computer language. That's not the main thing here. Without that also smart classroom can happen with these 2 facilities, very important facilities: PC laptop connection, DVD VCR player, projector and screen. So 2 and 4 is the right one. The term yellow journalism refers to what? That is sensationalism, exaggeration to attract readers' views. What we are having in recent years, after 2015, we are having only sensationalism and exaggeration due to YouTube videos. Simply anything is exaggerated. Very ordinary thing would have happened. But then in order to attract the people, they will give very attractive ad or sentences or words as their topic, right? In the thumbnail they will say. But when you go inside, nothing will be there. Sometimes it happens. So the term yellow journalism refers to sensationalism and exaggeration to attract readers and viewers. This has been asked in June 2014. In communication, the language is what? The verbal code. The language is the verbal code. Very word, the concept language means using words, isn't it? So the verbal code is called verbal code. 2015 they asked. The language is the verbal code. When the purpose of a definition is to explain the use or to eliminate ambiguity, the definition is called what? When the purpose of a definition is to explain the use or to eliminate ambiguity, the definition is called a lexicon. Sometimes they are asking often, better to understand. I have given, I have explained each alternative here. Each option I am explaining. Persuasive definition means what? Often they asked, good at persuading someone to do or believe something through reasoning or the use of temptation. Some or other you tend to persuade the another person to accept your view. That is called persuasive. Persuasive. So definition. And stipulative definition means what? Stipulated definition of existing terms are useful in making theoretical arguments or stating specific cases. For example, suppose we say that to love someone is to be willing to die for that person. It's a stipulated definition. Real love means this, stipulates conditions like, isn't it? So that's called stipulated definition. What is the lexical definition? That is what is asked in this question. A lexical definition simply reports the way in which a term is already used within a language community. I mean, traditionally it is spoken like that. That is called a lexical. The goal here is to inform someone else of the accepted meaning of the term. That is called a lexical. That is the question it has been asked. When the purpose of a definition is to explain the use or to eliminate ambiguity, I mean to bring out clarity, that definition is called a lexical. So that goes along with the definition we have given here. So the lexical definition simply reports the way in which a term is already used within a language community. The goal here is to inform someone else of the accepted meaning of the term. Persuasive definition. Good at persuading someone to do or believe something through reasoning or the use of temptation. Some or other you make the other person get your point. Persuasive definition. So stipulated definition of existing terms are useful in making theoretical arguments or stating specific cases. For example, we say that to love someone is to be willing to die for that person. So you stipulate some condition here. A lexical definition simply reports the way in which a term is already used within a language community. The goal here is to inform someone else of the accepted meaning of I mean, this is what the accepted meaning. You see, you simply accept. That is called a lexical definition. Which of the following are the characteristic features of communication? So, four alternatives given, choices given. Among these, we have to take. Which of the following are the characteristic features of communication? Communication involves exchange of ideas, facts and opinions. Communication involves both information and understanding. Communication is a continuous process. Communication is a circular process. I think all are apt, they are talking about the characteristics of communication, all the four. Communication involves exchange of ideas, facts and opinions. Communication involves both information and understanding. Communication is a continuous process. Communication is a circular process. It is a circular process because feedback is involved. Sender, channel, sender, message, receiver, and then feedback. It goes again and again. Cyclic process or circular process. All all the options A, B, C and D. That is the right one. Using the central point of the classroom communication as the beginning of a dynamic pattern of ideas is referred to what? Using the central point of the classroom communication as the beginning of a dynamic pattern of ideas. From one point you are just, you are taking the branches of different meanings, different concepts, different aspects of a particular theme. That is called what? Mind mapping. Mind mapping, we do that. Mind mapping is a learning technique which forces the learner to think and explore concepts using visual spatial relationships flowing from a central theme to peripheral branches which can be interrelated. Kudumbam, suppose we take a family, then father, mother, right? And children, boys and girls, So like that it goes. Grandchildren, nephew, nieces, grandchildren, great grandchildren. Like that you can, from one point, family, you can take different aspects of that theme, family. So that's called mind mapping. Mind mapping is a learning technique which forces the learner to think and explore concepts using visual spatial relationship flowing from a central. We just draw the diagram, that is called a visual spatial relationship. Through the diagram we are able to see the relationship or show the relationships. That is the idea here, mind mapping. So they will be confusing us with the language, but we can get the point. If you are short, we should be able to get the correct answer, right? Aspects of the voice other than the speech are known as what? Aspects of the voice other than the speech are known as paralanguage. What do you mean by paralanguage? Paralanguage is known as vocalics, is a component of meta communication that may modify meaning, give nuanced meaning, or convey emotions by using techniques such as prosody, pitch, volume, intonation, etc. For an example, all of a sudden I raise the voice. I am just saying, I am giving the definition of set. What is a set? A set is a group of well-defined objects. Now I am telling in ordinary way, and then in order to emphasize this particular definition to the students, I make a pitch. I raise my voice, in other words. So my dear students, a set is a group of well-defined objects. Like that, I just all of a sudden I raise my voice. These things come under paralanguage. Sometimes, yes, like that, you make a point, after that you make such a certain sounds like this in order to give more meaning to what you are saying, to the concept you are giving. So that is called paralanguage. So it modifies the meaning, give nuanced meaning, or convey emotions by using techniques such as prosody, pitch, volume, intonation, etc. That's called a paralanguage. Every type of communication is affected by its context. Context means, the situation in which we are placed. That is the context. So the communication is very much depending on the context in which we are speaking. Context in communication refers to the surrounding, physical environment, facts and events within which a communication takes place. A college is a context, a school is a context, or a public office is a context. There the communication takes place. That is the idea here. So every type of communication is affected by its context. These contextual factors affect and influence the way a message is decoded or understood by the recipient. In a classroom, a communicator's trust level is determined by eye contact. Mostly, here they are given 4 options: the use of hyperbole, the change of voice level, the use of abstract concepts, all these things. But a communicator's trust level, see, if you are able to look at another person's eyes and then speak, the trust level of the communicator increases. That is the idea. That means confidently he is able to speak out. So eye contact is very important for the trust level of the communicator. I hope you understood this. Attitudes, actions and appearances in the context of classroom communication are considered as, of course, non-verbal. How will you know that unless it is there in your mind, So attitudes, actions and appearances in the context of classroom communication are considered as non-verbal. They are all non-verbal. The way you give the gestures, the attitude with which you speak, that will be caught by the students. You won't be saying anything, but the students will be able to understand it correctly. So non-verbal, mostly it is non-verbal. Attitudes, actions and appearances in the context of classroom communication are considered as non-verbal. Most often the teacher-student communication is utilitarian. Utilitarian means very useful or beneficial at that moment. See, the student doesn't understand some concepts. The teacher immediately clarifies. So that way it is utilitarian, practical. You're not critical, spurious or confrontational. No. Normally when the student asks a question, very affirmatively, very affectionately, the teacher answers the student. That way it is pragmatic, utilitarian, right? It is useful for the student as well as the teacher also. Teacher also can understand how far the student understands his lesson. That way, it is utilitarian, both sides. The choice of communication partners is influenced by factors of proximity, utility, loneliness. I mean, these all come from communication theories. Not through general knowledge. These are all theories of communication. Based on that, this question has been taken. Anyway, we learn it. The choice of communication partners is influenced by factors of proximity, utility, loneliness. Privacy. Loneliness means privacy. Two people talk to each other through phone or something, or through internet. The proximity is there, distance is there, utility, practicalness is there, loneliness, privacy is there. So very important. So factors of proximity. Proximity means a distance, utility, loneliness. For an example, suppose you are near the front and then you are conveying to him something, you are so close to him, that is proximity. So the communication partner is influenced by this proximity. Utility, usefulness, loneliness, privacy. Every communicator has to experience anticipatory excitement. What's going to happen, what new idea is going to, or what challenge the sender is going to give him. Like that, anticipatory excitements. You are expecting something, something new. That is anticipatory excitement. Every communicator has to experience anticipatory excitement, not manipulated emotions, the issue of homophiles or status dislocation. What does this mean? We just get it. Communication is a basic psychological dimension of human beings and constitutes an important function for the development of the individual as well as groups in its various aspects. That is cognitive, affective, relational, social. So it is always there is an element of excitement in communication. That is understood. It is very psychological. What are the barriers to effective communication? Moralizing, being judgmental, and comments of consolation. So it's very difficult. Someone is sharing his suffering or misfortune. You cannot be moralizing at that time. You have to patiently listen to him. You should not be judgmental also. You should not give comment of consolation. As if you are not caring for him. He is giving something out of his deep grief. He is expressing his feelings. At that time, immediately don't console us. Rather listen to him patiently. That's more important. If you do that, that becomes a barrier to effective communication. Moralizing, being judgmental, and comments of consolation. Now, imagine you are working in an educational institution where people are of equal status. Which method of communication is best suited and normally employed in such a context? The friendly way you have to deal with the person. That is the idea here in the question. You are working in an educational institution where people are of equal status. You are all professors, or you are all students, you are all HODs, like that. Which method of communication is best suited and normally employed in such a context? That is the horizontal communication, no? The line, horizontal communication. Vertical means, this rectangle, rectangular fashion, vertical, from top to bottom. This is side, side to side. Horizontal communication. Next one. What do communicated words carry in a classroom situation? See, communicated words carry in a classroom situation because the teacher is communicating. He exhibits certain amount of power, structure, and tradition also. He is a teacher. A teacher is supposed to follow certain rules. That way, he is following the tradition of the teaching profession. There is a structure. The lesson plan and that comes under structure. Power, he is authoritative because he knows more than the students. So that way he is more authoritative than the students. Students are just recipients of his knowledge. They are listening to him and then learning something new. That way, power, structure, and tradition, his communicated words carry these things: power, structure, and tradition. As a good classroom communicator, you are supposed to know your artful pauses. When to give silence, when to speak, when to raise your voice. These are all called artful pauses. When you make silences, when you are going to make, the silent moment, so that the students reflect and then get your message very deeply. So artful pauses will be helpful for that. As a good classroom communicator, you are supposed to know your artful pauses, when you must give a pause, silence, etc. Figure out the components of non-verbal communication in a classroom from the following. There are 4 things are given. Figure out the components of non-verbal communication in a classroom from the following. So out of the 4, which is the right one? Facial expression, cultural space, seating arrangement, right? Speed of utterance, feel good factor, acoustics, high sound, physical ambience, teacher-learner distance, facial expression, kinesics, and personal space. So, from figure of components of non-verbal communication, these are according to the definitions. They are facial expressions, kinesics. Kinesics is means what distance you are having, with your communicatee or the listener or the student. So the study of the kinesics means what? So 3 things: facial expression, kinesics, and personal space. Kinesics means the study of the way in which certain body movements and gestures serves as a form of non-verbal communication. So kinesics means the study of body movement. Please learn that once and for all. Kinesics means proxemics means personal space. Kinesics means body movement. The science of body movements we can call it. So the 3 factors of non-verbal communication: facial expression, kinesics. Kinesics means body movements. Then personal space. I mean the distance in which you keep up with the students or with the friend or with the communicatee or with the listener. So that is personal space. So these 3 are called factors of non-verbal communication. Which of the following are the basic factors of effective listening? Which of the following are the basic factors of effective listening? So, acknowledgement of thoughts, reflection, asking open-ended questions. So, basic factors of effective listening: acknowledgement of thoughts, reflection, asking open-ended questions. All these things come under factors of effective listening. So, good listeners share these characteristics. They pay attention to the person who is speaking. They keep eye contact. They show interest by nodding or by smiling at proper times. They make sure that they understand what has been said by repeating it in their own words. So what the teacher has said, the students are able to repeat it back. That shows that they have understood. In other words, they have effectively listened to the message. That's why they are able to give the same sentence or give the same thoughts like the teacher after listening to the teacher. That is the idea here. Very important one. No? You see, after 2015-16, they have started asking different pattern of questions. Now it's all the more deeper. I have formulated questions also. Soon I will be giving you for first paper, second paper, everything in the hard, what to say, difficult level questions. So I have just made it. Now they have started that. After 2015, they have started giving questions of this type only. It's not one question. You must know many facts so that you answer this one question. So which of the following are the basic factors of effective listening? Acknowledgement of thoughts, reflection, and asking open-ended questions. Internal and external factors that affect message reception by the students in the classroom are referred to as what? Here, internal, external factors that affect message reception. Some psychological problems may affect listening in the classroom, or some external noises, loudspeaker noise from the loudspeakers, that may affect learning inside the classroom. So that is the idea. Internal and external factors that affect message reception by the students in the classroom are referred to as noise. We already talked about it. Noise is any type of disruption that interferes with the transmission or interpretation of information from the center to the receiver. The 4 types of noise are physical, physiological, psychological, and semantic. These are the 4 types of noise: physical, physiological, psychological, and semantic. Expressive communication is driven by encoders of personality characteristics. Expressive communication is driven by encoders personality characteristics. Expressive language means being able to put thoughts into words and sentences in a way that makes sense and is grammatically accurate. Expressive language means being able to put thoughts into words and sentences in a way that makes sense and grammatically accurate. That is called encoder's personality character. Expressive communication comes under encoder means what? The sender. No? Sender's personality characters. Receptive language means what? Receptive language means the ability to understand information. It involves understanding the words, sentences and meaning of what others say. So the expressive language comes from the center only, being able to put thoughts into words and sentences. So encoder's personality character. Expressive communication is driven by center. Encoder means the center's personality characteristics. Positive classroom communication. Positive classroom communication leads to what? Persuasion. Positive classroom communication. See, when you are very positive in your approach in the classroom, the teacher is able to positively transferring the information into the minds of the students. That is persuasion. Persuasion is an act or process of presenting arguments to move, motivate or change your audience. You are able to change the mindset of the students through your words, through a persuasive approach in your teaching. So the positive classroom communication leads to persuasion, not the negative classroom communication. So people will be confused if you are having negative approach in teaching. Whereas a positive classroom communication leads to persuasion. Classroom communication is the basis of what? Social identity actually. External identities, biased passivity, group aggression, all these things are there. But classroom communication, very fact that it is a society, a minuscule society. School is the mini society. Classroom is the mini society like. Classroom communication is the smallest community in a way. So that way classroom communication is the basis of social identity. That is important. Finally, the teacher reaches out to the student for the social benefit. Finally, the students are entering into the society, they are going to exhibit whatever they have learned, in other words. So that way classroom communication is the basis of social identity. Effective communication presupposes understanding. Effective communication presupposes understanding, not non-alignment, domination, passivity. It is understanding. Effective communication presupposes understanding. When verbal and non-verbal messages are contradictory, it is that most people believe in non-verbal messages. When verbal non-messages are contradictory, see, what you are saying is one thing, what you are showing through your hands is another thing. But what you are saying is contradictory to what you are showing, it is contradictory, okay? Then most people will believe in what? They will believe in non-verbal messages, not the verbal message. So immediately they are taken, they are attracted towards your non-verbal message. So when verbal and non-verbal messages are contradictory, they are opposite to each other, most people believe in your non-verbal messages. Please get the point. It's all very deep idea in communication. The typical feature of information-rich classroom lecture is the nature of being factual. The typical feature, the conventional feature of information, that is a lecture, is in the nature of being factual. How should your rich lecture should be? It should be factual, based on facts, not simply throwing words. That is the idea. With the evidence, with proof, everything you must give in your lecture. So that way the typical feature of information-rich classroom lecture is in the nature of factual, giving proof, explanation, and all these things, evidence. So it should be factual. Write in the chronological order. So this is a 2018, I think. After that they have started giving questions of this type. Pattern has completely changed now. Write in the chronological order. Communicator, medium, receiver, effect, message. I mean, we must know some communication theories. Based on that it is asked. So what is write in the chronological order? Which is the right one? Communicator, then message, medium, receiver, effect. Actually it is nothing but the communication cycle: sender, message, receiver, feedback. No, exactly the same thing they are given in different words. That's all. The same thing is given in different words. Communicator, that is sender, message, medium, channel. We are talking about. Then receiver decodes, that is the effect. Then he gives the feedback, isn't it? That is the effect. Feedback is the effect. So the communicator, message, medium, receiver, effect is the is in the chronological order of communication. You must understand correctly. If you know the definition, immediately you will find out that. Find the correct answer. The C is the correct answer. You will know. Only words have been changed. That's all. Normally, center, message, channel, receiver, decoding, feedback. That is in the communication cycle. The same thing is given in different words. Bengal Gazette, the first newspaper in India, was started in 1780 by James Augustus Hickey. Already we have said it. Press censorship, again it comes, I don't know. Sorry, it is also coming again. Oh, I think maybe this one is a new one. Yes. In a classroom, teachers and students use self-interest issues to judge their acceptability. Uncritical disposal, negative reinforcement ideas, external non-verbal cues, all these are there. Teachers and students use self-interest issues to judge their acceptability, because self-interest issues means they are interested in certain things. They are expressing that in the classroom. What is the meaning of it? Why do they do so? That is to judge their acceptability. Self-interest issues. In other words, their own personal examples. That way you can argue. Why do they give the personal examples? In order to make them acceptable to the student. The students are able to receive the message. That way the self-interest issues are judged. Okay, I hope you understood. Self-interest issues nothing but personal examples given in the classroom. Why does the teacher give that? Only for his acceptability. The student should be able to accept his message. So he gives self-interest issues. I hope you understood this. Yeah. Variables that affect the information processing in a classroom are, once again, the latest trend is this after 2018. Now 2025, completely this trend. Either like this, or two statements will be given, which holds true, which holds incorrect, something like they are asking. In other words, multiple choice they are giving, 2 or 3 put together. What is that called? This match the following type of thing. So many ways they are giving. They have started giving after 2020. Now 2025 is the highest, the highest difficulty level we can say. Of course, if you read all the basic concepts, no need of worrying about anything. Even if it is a very hard question, difficult question, where do they come from? Only the basic facts. If you know the basic facts of all the concepts, why the hell we should worry about all such big questions, hard questions, match the following questions, match the match choice question, or this one, statement questions, like that, no? So, if you know the basic facts about the concepts, no need of worrying. Only apply your mind at that time whenever such difficult questions are given. Now we just see variables that affect the information processing in a classroom are 6 given. Variables that affect the information processing. You must understand the question first. First, perception levels, learned habits, attitude, beliefs, values, selectivity factor, market expectation, institutional intervention. Some things may not fit into the question, the STEM. Only 2 or 3 or 4 will be correct. The variable that affects the information process, that we have to see. Now, just among the quotes given, which is the right one, I have marked fourth one. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 5 market expression, nothing to do with the classroom communication, no market expression or institutional intervention, that is at the higher level, nothing to do with the classroom. Institutional means the school or college administration, nothing to do with that. So whereas the other 4 you just see perception level, understanding levels, learned habits, the habits through which the students understand the information, and attitudes, beliefs and values of the teachers as well as the student. Selectivity factor, the students, which information he takes, which information he avoids, all these things happen within the classroom situation. So the first 4 will be the correct one. So the fourth code will be the right one. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the fourth one. 2018 they asked. In the context of email, what is a spam? What is a spam? Of course, you know that, you are doing it every day. You must understand. If you read that, you will understand. That is put in language. That is, what is the correct answer? Unsolicited advertising sent to a large number of recipients. That is the correct answer. The context of email, what is spam? That is this one. The word spam as applied in email means unsolicited bulk email. Unsolicited means that the recipient has not granted verifiable permission for the message to be sent. Okay. So he hasn't asked for it. Sometimes it is just sent like that. That way it becomes a, what do you call, unsolicited bulk email. Spam, we call it a spam. Without your knowledge, they are sending it. So unsolicited means that the recipient has not granted verifiable permission for the message to be sent. You haven't sent the verifiable permission. Bulk means that the message is sent as part of a large collection of messages, all having substantively identical content. Larger collection of messages simply sent to so many thousands of people. That is called bulk. Okay. So in the context of email, what is spam? That is the fourth one. Unsolicited advertising sent to a large number of recipients. Without your asking for it, they are sending it. They know your address, so they are sending it. So thank you very much, dear friends. God bless you abundantly. Let us meet in other video lecture. I think we have finished the entire communication process. I mean, unit 4 communication we have finished with a lot of examples, with a lot of questions. Kindly go through that, each and everything. I think all these questions are being repeated now. These are all old questions, yes, from 2002 up to 2018 and all. But the same thing is given in different pattern, yes. But the idea is the same. So I request you, dear friends, to go through everything, at least read it once. I will be very happy if you subscribe and like and comment, so that my video gets some value. If you feel it should be done, please do so. I thank you very much. I pray for you. God bless you abundantly. Entire unit 4 is over. Let us go for unit 5, the mathematical logic, in the next unit.